Good morning. How is everyone doing? Let me just see if... Here we go. I'm the first viewer. I am the first viewer. Oh, I can give myself a like too. Make sure you give yourself a like every day. But make sure you like. Pay the entry fee is what I'm trying to say. Looking marvellous. Thank you. Howatza. It's always nice to hear, isn't it? What's going on? Why can't I move those comments over here? All right, today's the big day. The big day. We are going, six Doof. Doofy's here to win bid on the Z8. How good is that? Bid on the Z8. Doofy, thanks for yesterday, mate. For those of you that didn't see it, Doofy held a fundraiser for one of the Z members that got scammed, lost all his horses, and ended up raising roughly $50,000 US, which was absolutely phenomenal, and will definitely get them back up on their feet and into Zed Run, which is absolutely incredible. Always be careful, obviously. Be wary. Be careful about all links, about just sort of go into the space thinking that everyone's trying to rip you off, and just keep your eye out for those scams. Love yourself every day, Alex. That's the way. Give yourself a like every day. Hit the like button as your entry fee on the way in, as we do. Guys, today we're doing a little bit. Obviously, we're doing the auction. We'll do that in about 20 minutes or so, half an hour. But before we do that, we're going to do a little bit of a Zed Run pep talk on goals, aspirations, what you should be aiming for, and how you can achieve them. Because I see, and the reason I bring this up is because there was a particular comment in the Poseidon Facebook group, and absolutely, people are right to say, you know, we can't compete, we can't do this, it's too difficult, everyone's going to turn their back. But also, the most successful people, and I see this in Doofy as well, and I see it in myself time and time again as a pattern, if I get knocked down, or I get an obstacle put in my way, or I fail at something miserably, generally, like 99% of the time, I will go back to the drawing board and start studying, put more time, more effort, and try and find a way forward. So I guess they're the two options. They're the two options we've got. Find the way forward, or turn your back and go away. And then, look, in a couple of years' time, you look back and think, geez, I was one of the first people to be in that Zed Run space, and now look at it. What could have been? So, let's talk about that first. Well, before we do that, let's have a look at the horsies. Well, I'm saying horsies, but horse that we're going to be auctioning. Oh, and before we do that too, in the description below, I've now put links to two versions of the podcast. Same content at each version of the podcast, but depending on what app you have on your phone or what app you're using to listen to your podcast, there is a couple of podcasts where you can catch up with all the Poseidon hints and tips and tricks, obviously from the channel here, via the audio of a podcast. Okay? So that is pretty cool. Seabiscuit helping me out with that. Absolutely, you know, huge credit to Seabiscuit and big thanks for him. So hopefully I can repay him back in the future with helping him build his stable. All right. Let's have a quick look down here. Road to success. That's what we're talking about, Dan. That's what we're talking about. Doofy here. 333 trip. Good morning. Alex, love yourself. Yeah, absolutely. If you can. It's not the easiest thing in the world to do, is it, sometimes? Hello, Maine. Raymond, always with us. Early birds as always. Alex, pretty excited about the Doofmeister in the house. 5 stars, found them yesterday. Yeah, Raymond, the podcasts are great. Seabiscuit's doing a great job at really smoothening off that audio and making me sound like a, you know, I don't know, what made me sound like what? Like someone that's done a podcast before, I guess. It sounds pretty good. Sup, Steve? G'day, Dallas. All right. I lost my train of thought, but we're going to have a look at the horse first that you can bid on in about half an hour. And with only 21 currently viewers here, who knows? It could go for a bargain. It could go for an absolute bargain. Hands up if you're going to try and grab this horse when we do the auction. I don't know what it might go for. What does a Z8 go for? What should we be expecting? What's the price predictions? Anyway, so we got two actually, and the winner, how good's this? The winner, we're only auctioning one because I want to keep one for myself, and we're starting to give away a bunch of horses here and there, but that's a good thing. They're all good causes. Oh, and we should look before we go into that. Where is the? Here we go. We're supporting the Pony Plug charity here, which they're also doing a stream today. What time does that go down? You can see the times here. Okay. I'm not sure if that's already happened or... But anyway, there's your times there. Looks like it might be going down in about an hour, if that's my Australian Eastern Standard Time there. All right, so we better make sure the auction goes first, and then you can go jump over there and tune into Pony Plug for that particular stream. All right. Tomorrow. Oh, sorry. You're right, Doofy. It's 24 hours away. It's 24 hours away. Lucky I got you here, mate. Keeping me on track. 25 hours away to be exact. Yeah, you're right, Doof. All right. Forget about me. Always giving out bung information, aren't I? Okay, these are the horses we will be auctioning, and then I'll be contacting Pony Plug and letting them know how we went so that they can add that to their total tomorrow. So you've got this guy, Buterin Z8 Colt Thistle. I quite like the thistle colour. It does remind me of that rare colour Misty Rose. Often trips me up. I think, oh, is that a Misty Rose? Well, no, it's not, but it's quite a nice colour. I am in the future, Steve. You better believe it. Time Traveller. Doofy's here from the future too. So you got Damn Flash. Yeah, pretty cool name. Damn Flash, I don't mind that. And then we got this one here. Burnt Sienna, another Colt, Z8, so they're both Colts. Burnt Sienna, Sleight of Hand. A little bit of cardistry, a little bit of card tricks of sleight of hand. I'd probably pick that one myself, but don't trust me because I always pick the wrong one. If there's two horses to choose from, and I'm doing a breed, then usually if I choose it, the other person gets the good horse. So probably don't listen to me. I have a habit of choosing the wrong one. So who knows? These could be the next absolute big gun horses. Now look, it's unlikely to be honest, isn't it? And this is what we'll be talking about a little bit first up. Yeah, unraced. Whew, I'm nervous as. If you guys get the next Zombie Boy or something like that, look, good luck to you, absolutely. I was going to say I'll be really disappointed, but I won't be. It's all going to a good cause. And as much as I would like another great horse, you know, I've got my fair share. So if one of these was to be an absolute epic legend horse, then I would be pretty stoked, actually. I'd be pretty stoked. I'd be like, oh, it could have been mine, but it would feel good that you've got it and you got it through this charity auction. That would feel pretty good. Okay, so keep your eye on that. First join live, Douglas. Good to have you here. Good to have you here. All right, so what I want to talk about, let's switch back to full screen for the meantime. Let's switch back to the full screen. What I want to talk about is setting goals, realistic goals in Zed Run, because I see a lot of people come into this space and then feel like they can't compete, but they're comparing themselves to the likes of myself and Doofy, who have been here for 12, 18 months and have really hustled and built our stables. Look, for example, when I first got to Zed Run, me and my brother joined around about 12 months ago. We joined about 12 months ago, and I first came in and we couldn't really afford any of the top line Genesis. You know, no Z1s, no Z2s really. I think we bought a Z5 initially, and it was a bit sucky. The Z5 was a bit sucky. And look, we then went and bought a couple of second-hand Z2s. They'd been raced. So, and I didn't realise, I kind of saw they might have had a third and a second out of 10 races, and I thought, they might have something. Maybe I can get a few better results out of them. And me and my brother went something like 30 races without a win. Roughly the first 30 races. Now keep in mind, back when we started racing, you were lucky to get a race a day, and sometimes you were only getting a race a week. And even sometimes we went 2, 3, 4 weeks without a single race if the gas was really, really high. We were going really long periods without racing. So there was literally, and then when we did race, as I said, there was literally like one race a day. 12 horses filling one race per day. And now we're looking at, what are we looking at? 200 maybe? Maybe 200 races. So it was a really slow space back then. There was only a couple of hundred of us. Now the benefit was obviously that the horses were considerably cheaper. But even with that, me and my brother couldn't afford, Z1s at the time. We got a Z5, as I said, and then we got a Z2, I think, a couple of cheapish Z2s, but they kind of sucked. We bought bad ones, and then we ran out of money. So rather than worrying about, competing with the likes of Bob the Nailer and Lucky Jack and King Beaver, who was really, really active back then, more so active, I suppose. He was the literal king of Zed Run back then, and had a lot of Z1s and a lot of good horses. Rather than trying to compare myself to the Beaver, I was like, right, what can I do to improve my stable? And I thought, well, I can't really reach Z1s at the moment. That was a goal for later down the track. I always wanted a Z1 or two. And as you can see now, we've now increased that to near, I think, 2021 or 22 Z1s. Okay, so, but a lot of people are coming in and sort of comparing themselves to that now and thinking, how am I ever going to get 21 Z1s? Well, it's going to take some time and it's going to take some tactics, and you need to build up. And yes, it is much harder. Absolutely, it's much harder. So back then I thought, right, where is the niche? Where is the undervalued niche where I can really make some moves? All right, it wasn't really for Genesis for me. And I thought, right, I'm going to contact, I thought my niche was Z2 Legends at the time. So I contacted a couple of the big stables and I cherry picked a couple of nice horses. I said to King Beaver, right, Taco Tuesday was one of the big horses of the day. I said, right, Taco Tuesday, that stallion of yours, would you be open to custom breeding for me with your Z1 mare, this one, this one, this one, and this one, and producing 7 Z2s for me, and I'll buy the entire bundle. And that cost me, back then that cost me 1.4 Ethereum. I was paying 0.2 for a Z2. And I know you're going to say, oh, well, you can't buy Z2s for 0.2 anymore. Well, you're probably right, but you can still get them pretty cheap if you know who to talk to. You can still get them pretty cheap if you know who to talk to, and you got your eye on some Z2s that aren't necessarily the top of the tops. All right, and even if you can't afford Z2s, so I did that, and then I started breeding those Z2s with other horses, and I ended up getting a couple of really great horses that started winning money for me. Now, even if you think, well, even Z2 Legends are out of my budget right now, well, that's okay. Find the niche that is undervalued. Maybe combining 2 Z4 Zabos, Genesis, and getting Z8 Legends might be something that you can get at a really, really good price, but produce, decent racing horses if you're using the right lineage. Or if you can't reach to that level, maybe it's Z5s or 6s or, something like that. Because what's generally happening at the moment, there's a lot of new players coming in that have limited budgets, and I get that. Budgets of $500, $1,000 or $2,000. That's probably where the majority of players are coming in. And what I'm seeing happening is a lot of these players are coming in and trying to buy Z8s, 9s or 10s, something in that range, the cheaper range, and then expecting the next zombie boy. All right, but we know from experience that zombie boy style races in the 8s, 9s and 10s probably come around like 1 in 50 or 1 in 100. So if you're only buying 1 or 2 horses, the expected result for 1 or 2 horses is ordinary races. Most of Z9, 8s, 9s, 10s, sort of down in that range, let's be honest, most of them are ordinary. This Z8 may well, or is expected to be, ordinary. I don't want to, talking down the auction is not a good idea. Look, it might be another zombie boy, but that is not the expected outcome. if you're going by average and mathematics. Okay, so probably not the best conversation before a charity auction, right? But I want to really ground you here and try and give you some outlets. So where are the undervalued areas in the market? And it doesn't have to be Genesis right now. If there's a market where you can get a couple of Z5s and get someone to breed you those at a really low rate and then race them, and they could be absolute guns, can you get, I don't know what the minimum for a Z5 racer is, but if it's only a couple of $100, you might be able to get them cheaper than what you can buy an unraced Z10 on OpenSea, for example. Okay, you might be able to get a legend, a Z10 legend from 2.5s, much cheaper than what you can get a Z10 Genesis Buterin on OpenSea. And I think maybe 2.5s, a Finney, 2.5, a Legend Z10 from 2.5s, who knows? Look, maybe the average of good races might be better. Maybe it's better. So yeah, really think about what your budget is. What are your goals? Do you want to have the best racehorse in the game, or do you want to actually set up really great bloodlines for breeding? So at the moment, I'm angling from the breeding angle. I haven't even raced my horses in about 6 weeks, to be honest. And the reason for that is I don't agree with the current class system, and I'm waiting to see how that develops. I don't believe I have, you would look at my stable and think I've got incredible horses, but I don't believe I've got too many horses right now that are profitable. Not many at all, maybe only 2 or 3, and they would only be borderline profitable at that. So I don't really have any enthusiasm for racing in the current class system. I think it will be changed in the future. I don't know how long that will take. It could take a month, it could take 6. So I'm just sort of hanging back and I'm looking towards breeding. Now, once I breed, I'll be racing a bunch of horses just to gauge their talent and see if they're worth breeding again, see if they're worth pushing down the line. But for the time being, I haven't been doing that. So look for the underappreciated areas of the market and then work your way up. If you want Z1s, if you think, so you need to then develop a vision for the game. What do you think, where do you think the game is going, and what pieces of the puzzle do you think you need to prosper where the game is going to be in a year or two? Now, we spoke yesterday that potentially one of the undervalued areas in the market is those consistent horses that never or very rarely win, like win 2% win rate, but they finish 2nd through to 8th 80% of their races. Those really highly consistent horses. If there was a consistency trait, which there may well be in the future, these horses would be sitting at the 80% mark or something like that, 80, 90%. Now currently, those are not the horses that everyone is clambering after because they don't have any race use. They're not profitable, they're not winning, they don't look good. But when we have multi-tier tournaments, and I'm assuming that we're going to have at some stage some sort of single elimination tournament where you have 10,000 horses, or let's start with 1,000 horses to begin with, and then after round 1 you narrow that down to half, to 500, to 250, to 120, to 60, to 30, to 15, and then into the final 12 horses for the final race. You would get those numbers as doubles, a little more accurate. Now, I was just thinking this morning that I sold a horse called Super Snout about 6 months, probably 3 months ago, 4 months ago to be honest, and this Super Snout horse was just a horse that would finish between 2nd and 6th pretty much the entire time. Look him up. I'm not sure if his odds are still doing that or his results are still doing that, but he was extraordinarily consistent at finishing like 2 to 6 or even 8th at worst. He was very rarely, if ever, coming 12th. And I think he had about a 10% win rate, but there was some weaker races that he'd run in to get those wins. So if he was racing in the higher class 1s, I'd expect him to finish, 3rd or 4th most of the time. Now that horse, I'm seriously considering trying to buy him back because my vision for the future is that these big multi-tier tournaments may well be the most prestigious races in the game. And I'm thinking, I do have a couple of good horses that would suit that, but Super Snout is going to be a tiered tournament gun, I think. All right, so keep your eye out for that. If you can find that little niche where they're underappreciated, but you think that's going to be in the future, jump on that. Now, if you think Z1s are the best way to go, you can't quite afford it there yet, well, you can work your way up like I did, or grab a bunch of mates, form a little syndicate, and then use that extended budget to maybe buy the pieces of the puzzle that you think are going to be important. Now, you probably might not be able to get a horse like Breathless Edge or Grandeur or Baroque away from the owners like myself or Good Boy Racing, but even unraced Z1s on the average are pretty good. You can get some bad ones, you can get unlucky, but if you can get a budget where you can maybe afford with 10, 20, 50 mates with one or two leaders that are guiding the way, then maybe you can afford 3 or 4 Z1s eventually, work your way up to it. Once you've got 3 or 4, the chances are that you've got one that's pretty good. Or actually, based on that, I've been buying Z2s lately because Z2s from a racing and potentially breeding perspective look reasonably close to Z1s, but they're half the price. And then Z4s versus Z3s look similar. Z4s look like they're very similar to the 3s, but they're considerably cheaper. And then as we get into Finnies, the 7s look like they might be close to the 5s, but again, they're considerably cheaper. And same with the 10s versus the 8s. Okay, so, there's so many different angles. And I think if you come into this game, you buy a Z10, it sucks, you get disappointed and you leave the game, well, fair enough. There's going to be a lot of people that do that, but they're not going to be the successful ones. It's the ones that can take the failure, go back to the drawing board, draw up a new plan, a new vision, and start hitting those points to get to the chess pieces that you need that are going to be important in the game. All right? And it's not necessarily all Genesis. It might be building up a great bloodline of legends if you think they're cheap and going to be important. And I think they're going to be important. I just think you have to be really, really I've got some specific targets that I like to meet with those Z2s. M Plum. Yeah, you might want to jump back and listen to that one. That's the end of that, but hopefully that gives you some inspiration on directions where you can go. There's not one direction, one successful path. There's infinite paths to get to being one of the top stables in this game. And just because me and my brother and Doofy have, 20, 30, 50, 100 horses, or PJ Harley's has 300 or 400, I think, doesn't mean that you can't eventually, like a Good Boy Racing went from being a brand new stable to one of the biggest stables in the game through selective purchasing. Now, we don't all have a budget like that. I assume that team, there's a few of them in there, at least 2, maybe 3. That team had a really good budget, but they also had a really good eye and a really good vision for the short to medium term, even long term growth of the game, where it was going. And they only have 10 or 12 horses, but they're really top quality horses. So you can start building a stable with one great horse if you manage to luck into one, or maybe spot one and buy one. Or, as I said, if you think tiered tournaments are a thing, you can pick up. I think you could still get, maybe not now that I'm sort of in the market and telling everyone that consistent horses are going to be a thing, and I don't know that they are. This is never financial advice. I should have said that earlier, shouldn't I? Never financial advice, you know that, NFA. But yeah, these consistent horses, I might start looking for maybe another Z1 on that level that I can pick up for 8 or 10 ETH, if I can. Because maybe a Super Snout could be on par with a Breathless Edge when the racing structure changes. All of a sudden, you've got these big tiered tournaments with $1 million prize money. We're talking 2 or 3 years maybe down the track. $1 million prize pool. Look at poker. You've got those races with in poker tables, you've got those tables where you enter one singular table against 6 or 10 other players for $5 a head, much like our singular racing we got in Zed. But then you can enter with 100,000 other players for that same $5 entry fee, but the prize money at the top could be 200,000, 300,000 or $1 million. Now, what is going to make the next legendary horses, the next horses that are really, really, the ones that are spoken about, like the Zombie Boys, like Breathless Edge, like Ducky Malone, if something like Super Snout was to win 2 or 3 of these multi-tiered tournaments, or consistently reach the semi-finals or the final, all of a sudden you've got this reputation and a huge following of this horse. So I'm not sure. Let's see if Super Snout sells for a mint before I get him. But yeah, that would be one anyway. So keep your eye out for that. Let's have a look at some questions. We got 59 people. Hit the like button. We're going to do the auction very, very shortly. And we'll be doing it via the comments here. And then you can contact me via either the Facebook group or Facebook or email. I'll give you my email, actually. That's probably best. And you can just email me and we'll arrange to do payment and delivery of the horse. All right. Hopefully I didn't go robot throughout that, did I? No. All right. Any questions there, and then we'll jump in. Sleight of hand, you like that, VV? I do too. Unraced, you all right, Doof? You can get you get your choice of one of the unraced horses, which is we got this guy here. They're both colts. Z8 Genesis, unraced, unbred, Damn Flash, and Sleight of Hand for those who like a bit of cardistry, a bit of magic. It's a cool name. Mitchell, I estimate about 0.28, 0.3 based on the extensive OpenSea research. Yeah, I think you're probably right, mate. Conservative estimate. No, I think that's probably fair. Though, look, the unraced Z10s seem to be going for around $900, $1,000. I think the Z8s are probably a little bit more than that. That was when ETH was up. That was when ETH was a little bit higher. ETH was about 4K. So it depends if we kind of stick to the 1,000 mark or stick to the ETH mark. Yeah, I think you're probably right though. I think around about that's probably where we are. Camillo, good to see you. Good one, Douglas. Congrats on buying Michael Jordan last night in the Jeeves auction. Thanks for supporting that. So that's really awesome. But you got yourself a really interesting horse there. I'll be interested. I would still run that horse a couple more times just to see where he's at or she's at. It's a filly, exclusive filly. But you've got some good blood there in Theatre Territory, one of the best Z10s getting around. And then Wall Street and Super Spirit. So I would be looking, if I were you, I'd be looking to breed that with a really nice racing, proven racer. Either Legend. Oh, no, it's an exclusive. So I'd be looking to put in a really nice racing Genesis. It doesn't necessarily need to be a Z1. I would be looking for a 3 or 4, a 2, 3 or 4, maybe a 5 or 6, depending on your budget, and see how that goes. Bred horses are absolutely the key, Doofy. Yeah. Now, if you think you can't afford those Genesis, angle into what you think are the underappreciated bred legends. If you think the Buterin legends are underappreciated or the Finney legends, I think the Zabo legends are probably underappreciated myself at the moment. I think they're sort of the somewhat unwanted, cousins of the Nakamotos to a degree. Doofy didn't buy his first Genesis till like 20 odd horses in, for sure. Yeah, hustle your way up to a Z1 for sure. I mean, I don't think I got my first Z1 until about 4 or 5 months in. I did get lucky. I was breeding, as I said, trying to find these horses. When I see a good stud come up in the market, I would breed it, and I finally got an Ace King. Ace King was undoubtedly one of the best horses in the game and won a lot of money back then. And much like, say, a Steph Curry or something like that. And, it just takes... You just got to sort of breed the way you think you're going to get to this great horse. And if you've got a horse that has a really nice record or a really good bloodline, then keep cherry picking from the stud farm until eventually I think you probably stay within your budget, but you might get a good one. And then eventually you might be able to use that money to sort of trade your way up. Mitchell, can I repeat those instructions? Yep. You can go back to the start of the video and repeat it as many times as you like, only because I don't know what you're talking about exactly there, Mitchell. When do you know you have a good breeding bloodline? For example, looks like Stuart has bred his Z1 with his Z2 and produced one very consistent horse. Good odds, good win rate, place rate, etc. And one not so good. That's the way it goes. You know, I think if you've produced one good one, then the chances are you can produce more good ones. I'm not sure. I'm a little bit more of the theory that you won't see too many really gun legends. And it's got to do a little bit to do with the depth of the genetics. Okay, so when you're at the legend level, or legends are produced from Genesis, to Genesis produce the legends. Now, are we only drawing from the genetics of the two direct parents there? That's kind of my hunch, that we're only drawing from the genetics of the Genesis parents. Now, when we get one more generation down, let's say we breed two of those legends together, well, now you've got the two direct legend parents there, but then you've got the four Genesis grandparents above. Now, if we think that we're also drawing to some degree from the Genesis from the grandparents in general, then now you've got a deeper genetic pool to draw from. You've not only got the direct parents, but you then got the four Genesis parents above. And if you go one more line down, you've then got the direct parents plus the legendary parents plus the potentially eight great-grandparents behind there. Now, if you think that we're drawing, even from a lower percentage-wise, that we might be drawing down, say, 10 or 12% from the great-grandparents, and we're drawing down, I don't know, 25% or so from the grandparents and, say, 50% from the direct parents, then that might explain why the legends, on average, are not as good as what the exclusives are, okay, because you've got more genetic pool to draw down from. All right, so there's another hint about where I'm going with breeding and what you might like to look for in, say, a legend. If you get a really decent racing legend, then it sort of hints that it's pulled down the good genetics from those Genesis. And then in the next breed from that legend, if it's a good racing legend, you're not only pulling from the good genes of the legend, but you're pulling from the good genes of the Genesis behind it as well. Okay, so if you think that's a thing as well, then maybe that's an angle you can go for. All right, we're going to start this auction in a minute. Now keep in mind, when we do the auction, there's about a 20 or 30 second delay. So just type in what your bid is in ETH, like 0.1. Not yet, we won't go yet, but just type it in ETH and then we'll get in touch with you and we'll go from there. Yeah, Douglas, I think I ran Michael Jordan at 24 already and it didn't look great. And I also ran her down short and maybe looked a little bit better. So keep your eye on that. But I think the bloodlines behind that horse are rather interesting. So definitely the breeding could be an option. People who haven't thumbs up on the video can't bid. That should be a thing, but it's not a thing. Yeah. In fact, Dan, Roid Rager was interesting in the way that it was drawing from four parents. And I'm not sure if they were four Genesis or whether they had 8 grandparents behind there as well. But, you know, and it depends a little bit on whether it's just a purely additional thing. Like if you're drawing one box of speed from one horse and another from another and another from another, if you have 4 parents, you can get 4 allotments of speed genes. Or whether it's more about the bingo card theory, which I mentioned in a previous video, where, you know, the genetics are kind of laid out randomly in a bingo card scenario, you know, from 1 to 100. And this is going to be kind of hard to explain in 30 seconds. But if you have 2 horses that have very similar genetics and they look like that, so 2 horses look like that, well then you only have the chance of sort of pulling from this speed gene, this one, this one, this one, this one. But if you have horses that have very different bingo card genetics, so they lay out across different numbers, then you might be looking at something like that. All right? So when you're pulling down from different parents, there could be horses that don't really suit breeding together because they look like that, and you can only really pull from those 5 genes, okay? But there could be horses that look like that. So all of a sudden you've got chances of picking up all 10 speed genes as opposed to just maybe trying to pick up 5 speed genes, if that makes any sense. Now, it could be purely additional, and that Roid Rager incident was really, really interesting because 4 parents seem to produce beastly horses. Is that because it's an addition thing, or is that because there is more genetic diversity? It could be either. It could be either. We're not really sure right at this stage. All right, guys. As I said, there'll be about a 20-30 second delay before I call out the bids, but let's get started. You get your choice of sleight of hand, unraced, unbred, Buterins, Z8s, dam flash, or sleight of hand. So go for it. Let's go for it. Just keep it purely in ETH. Raymond started the bidding at 0.21. Nice, mate. Solid bid to start. That's a really solid start. Let's see how we go. We'll run along this for about, well, until it sort of slows down. At this point, Raymond's 0.25. There we go. So you guys watching at home, keep your eye on the live comments there. JLC's bumped it to 0.25. They're both colts, Alex. Yes, they're both colts, both unraced, unbred, brand new in the box. You can leave this horse brand new in the box for 10 or 20 years, and maybe that's a good option as well. Or you can race it. Maybe you will get the lucky one. This is like the first unraced Genesis I've ever sold. So Murphy's Law is probably going to bite me on the butt, and Murphy's Law is probably going to bite me on the butt and give you guys. I don't like giving away or selling unraced for this reason, because it might be an absolute legend. Come on, Camillo, you're taking the piss there a little bit, but funny. Okay, so Jack Schwenke has beaten Doofy to the 0.3 mark. Dan's at 0.32, JLC at 0.33, guys. This is nice. This is good bidding. Let's see if we can get it up to around that $1,000 mark. What would the $1,000 mark be? Roughly about where we are, I think. The other horse's name is called Damn Flash. Pretty cool name in itself. 0.35. Doofy's won the race to 0.35. We've still got plenty of bids coming in here, so keep them coming. We're looking for a 0.36. Yeah, Doofy's got the fastest fingers. You might even have to go to 0.4 if you want to make sure that you're in front at the next call, which would be pretty nice. Pretty nice. Looks like the bidding is slowing down slightly. We won't call it just yet. Let's see if we can get a 0.36. There it is. Douglas is in. 0.36. We're aiming for 0.4. Let's see if we can get that 0.4. We're going to really stretch it out. I think 0.4 might nearly win it. Jack Swear. Oh, well, we're going there. 0.39 from Kevin. We're absolutely flying. It's all for the good cause. It's all for this cause here, guys. Cookie Crusade is part of the Doofy's at 0.4. Yeah, absolutely. Actually, if whoever buys this, I will call the race live. And I might even put in, we will arrange to put in the other horse, the other Z8 in the same Griffin. All right? So it'll be real interesting. We'll get it live. We'll talk about it. Doofy's at 0.4. What's Ethereum at the moment? Ethereum's at about just under 2 grand. So yeah, we must be about, just under 3. Doofy, it's getting close, isn't it? Let's have a look. What's this in USD at the moment? I think Ethereum's about 2.8 last I looked. By 0.4. Oh, Jack has done it. 0.41. We're about 1,100 USD for a great cause. Imagine how much that money will be able to help the Cookie Crusade moving forward for the brave little warriors of pediatric cancer. The little kiddies with the pediatric cancer. It's going to a really great cause, and this is really, really appreciated. We'll give it 30 seconds, and if we haven't seen 30, 40 seconds, if we haven't seen an increase on that, we will call it. We will call it at going once shortly. We won't call it just yet, but nice work, Jack. We're going to run it. If you don't have to run this horse, but if you are going to run this horse, make sure you contact me and I'll put in the other horse in the Griffin as well, so we really get a good comparison, and we can race it live. I'll call the race live on YouTube. We'll go live and call it. It'll be a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Imagine if one of these horses could be a $5 or $4 or $3 thing in the Griffin, so they might not be two. They could be both 20 to 1ers. We don't know. All right, we're going to call it once. We're with Jack Swecki. Hopefully I'm saying that right. We're with Jack at 0.41. We're going to give it 30 seconds before I knock it down for a second time. Let me just get my clock out here and give you a 30-second warning. Doofy's at 0.42. Okay, we're going to give Doofy 40 seconds at there before we see if there's any improvement on 0.42. Doofy's holding the lead, the winning bid at 0.42. I'm going to give him 35 seconds before I knock it down for the first time. For the very first time. This is really interesting. I wonder which horse would Doofy be choosing. I think maybe Sleight of Hand's the favourite horse to go today. Sleight of Hand is the favourite horse to be taken. We've also got... Oh, Jack's back, so we're going to have to reset. 35 seconds again. Jack's back. We got Damn Flash. Sleight of Hand. Who knows which one's going to be the better of the two? Sleight of Hand seems to be the favourite with the names. People seem to like Sleight of Hand as a name, but I do like Damn Flash as well. It's pretty cool. Team Jack. Boom. So Jack's got it at the moment, 0.43. A strong bid, just edging out the Doofmeister. It's a lot of money going to a really great cause, guys. We're probably getting reasonably close to where this stops out. Doofy has put in a strong bid at 0.45. Absolutely phenomenal. I'm really proud of you guys pushing this up for the great cause. Absolutely incredible. The Pony Plug is going to be stoked. Absolutely stoked that you guys and Team Poseidon all together as a community will take this. We can be proud of this. The money contributing. You know, even if you're not part of this auction, you know, you can be proud of being part of this for sure. All right, we're going to take it for the first call. Calling it once, and we'll reset for 35 seconds. We're calling it once. It's going once at 0.45 to Doofy. 0.545 for Doofy. It's going to be interesting. And the good thing about it, if it does go to Doofy, we know he's going to race it. So we're going to put both these Griffins in, both these horses in a Griffin. And we'll keep an eye on it. And as long as I'm not asleep, what we'll probably do, we'll probably wait until there's 9 or 10 horses and we'll dump a couple in there. We've still got Doofy at 0.45 and it's going twice. We've now got 35 seconds for anyone to top it. Otherwise, Doofy's picking this horse up. Doofy is going to pick this horse up. 0.45. You've got 20 seconds to make that final bid. If it's not on the clock, if it's not in my comments, 0.46. Doofy is probably out. Douglas has sniped at 0.46. All right. Douglas. Nice, just sitting in the shadows, sitting there waiting to see. Snap, grab it. It's for a good cause. It's a Z8. You're not really paying a huge premium, and the money is going to charity as well. So that's absolutely brilliant. Good work, Douglas. Absolutely good work. Douglas, if you do happen to get this, mate, will you be racing it with me? Will you be racing it? Or will you keep it unraced? Okay, that's one time. Calling it once. 0.46. Huge bid. How much money are we raising for? So we got roughly 2.8 by 0.46. What are we raising? $1,200, almost $1,300 for the kids. Absolutely incredible. We will call that twice now. Almost twice. We've got 10 seconds to go. As Doug said, whether he's racing this thing if he wins it or not. Doofy's like, if you race it, you can have it. That's twice. We're going into the third and final call. If there isn't another bid when this clock here hits... Oh, Jack, you've got in there at 0.47. Wow, dude. Awesome. Look, 0.5 wins this, guys, I think, doesn't it? I don't know. You guys are amazing. We'll give that one call. Already. We're moving into call 2 now. We're going to speed this up now because we're getting towards the end. We'll give that one call. When this hits 35 seconds here, we'll make it call 2. Okay, we'll speed this up now. And then we'll give it a final call. So you've got about 40 seconds total from right now to bump up on the 0.47 that Jack has added. Otherwise, it's going to Jack. Jack, will you be racing? Oh, he says he will be racing this horse. All right, we're really looking forward to that. We'll do that hopefully probably next week. That's call 2. Call 2. Jack, you've only got to survive 35 seconds. You've only got to survive 35 seconds here. If this clock makes it to 35 without a bid there, the horse is yours. Okay? 13. Is that back the front on your screen? I think it is. Yeah, it is back the front. You can see it, 24. You never saw the horse, Carl? It might be too late, mate. It might be too late. There's one, damn flash and sleight of hand. Z8s. All right, we're out. Jack. Jack is the winner. Mate, congratulations. You absolute legend. Thank you. And we'll go back here. The Cookie Crusade. Okay. Huge. An enormous amount of money going towards that really great charity. So I'll let Pony Plug know. I'll also, if it's okay with you, Jack, we'll contact via email, but I'll let them know, Pony Plug, to give you a shout out as the actual buyer that raised that particular money. And then we will also arrange to race these horses, mate. You can contact me. I'm just typing my email address. Adam@australianphotographer.com. That's in the comments there. Aha, Doofy just got pipped at the post, mate. Look, if for whatever reason this doesn't work out with Jack, we go back down. Who was the next bid? So Jack was 0.47. Where was the 4.6? Douglas was 0.46. Let me just come back here. So thank you, guys. I'm just going to make a screenshot of this just in case it doesn't work out with Jack. Douglas, you can contact me via email as well, adam@australianphotographer.com. I just put that in the description below, just in case it doesn't work out for whatever reason with Jack. I'm sure it will. And I know that Doofy was number 3 at 0.45. All right. So we will make that happen. We'll get that horse over to Jack and we'll talk about racing it. Absolutely incredible. Which one are you going for, Jack, did you say? We can talk about that on email, but I'd be interested. Did you choose one, Jack? Sleight of hand, mate. Sleight of hand. Very cool. I love the name, mate. I love the name. I honestly, from within my heart, I hope this is the next Zombie Boy. Like, I hope we put it in the Griffin and it's a $3 horse. I really, really do. I think when it comes to, you know, karma of charity, there's no guarantees, but it would be a beautiful poetic scenario if you were to give this money or contribute that money to buying a horse for charity and it ended up being one of the greatest horses in the game, one of the best Z8s. Let's hope that is the case. Okay, guys. Okay, Doofy has graciously said if the first 2 bids don't work out, he will match that same top bid. Okay, so hopefully we can get that money sorted out today and get it over to Pony Plug so that they can give Jack a nice plug for contributing what seemed to be, where were we? Where did we end up? about $1,300, I think, basically. About 1,300 US dollars and 0.47 Ethereum. Awesome, guys. If you haven't already, hit the sub button. Look, when breeding opens, we're going to do some more of this stuff. We might do some live auctions and stuff for some of the bred horses. We're also going to do some more giveaways for bred horses. So hit the sub button. If you haven't already, breeding is hopefully coming out in the next couple of weeks. When breeding, right? When breeding, hopefully. And me and my brother are planning on breeding all of our horses and producing roughly 60 or 70 horses. And if you've had a look across our stables, you will know that they have been very carefully, compiled into some of the best racing horses and racing genetics in the game. So again, if you're interested, and we will be selling at a discount to market, because we very much believe in leaving some of the money on the table so that our buyers, the buyers that buy direct from us, have the chance to either race that horse and sell it for roughly the same money they bought it for, or even flipping that horse and working their way up, all right? So we absolutely believe that more people than just us should be making money in this game, and we're very open to people making money from our horses. So, we'll be pricing our horses at that level. And look, I believe Doofy is doing something very, very similar. So make sure you jump over, subscribe to Doofy, subscribe here. In the description below is a link to the email list if you're interested in picking up some of our new bred horses when we get that opportunity. Thanks again. Huge money raised for this incredible cause here. Remember, put this in your diary. Put this in your diary. Pretty much 24 hours, almost to the minute, in 24 hours from now, this Twitch stream via Pony Plug will be going on. So jump over there. Make sure you subscribe to Pony Plug on Twitch if you haven't already, and join that stream. I don't know what exactly they're doing. They're probably auctioning some other horses. So jump over there and support that if you didn't manage to get the horse today. Thanks again. Love your work. It was exciting, a lot of fun. And we will see you early next week with a next episode of Poseidon on YouTube. All right. Cheers, guys. We'll chat later. Bye for now.